All right, so with old routines, and I'm just going to tell you my experience being a 32-year-old father, my son is 8, and having to go through many stages of life. One thing that we come across is old routines. The first step you've already done. You've already realized that you have a routine. That's the first thing is being able to identify something, because if you can't see it, you can't change it. If you can't see the mental shackles that are on your mind, you can't physically see them, but if you begin to suspect that there's something up, eventually you'll identify what it is or how you perceive it, and that's when we can either begin to change it completely, or we can begin to change how we perceive or how we look at the past, how we view what has already occurred. And that can be the biggest thing, because moving forward is us. And how we view things is more important than how they happen factually. Because even if something can be considered a fact, like man cannot fly, it isn't until new laws of physics and new things are understood by average men and women challenging, who don't have the education, who don't hold the position of office to say certain things, but just doing, and that can change what is to the known world. So when we look backwards with our perspective, we can actually continuously see that thing, and with more and more details, we can begin to see a bigger picture, and that can shift the way we perceive the past. And when we look at our own routines or the routines of someone else, there's a few things first to understand what a routine is. A routine could be skipping brushing your teeth, thinking about the gym but not going, knowing what to eat but not eating it. All of that has to do with breaking your tongue, which is something I talk about often in quite a few of past and previous videos, is the tongue is a stronghold and we must break that. But the old habits and old routines are something that started somewhere and they're continuing on. And now we need to ask ourselves with awareness, when did I start doing this, or when did this thing start? What might have caused this thing to start? Did it benefit when it first started? I'm sure that when I started doing it or it started happening, there was a positive net outcome. Now times have changed and things have changed. I have changed, situation has changed, and I'm questioning why this routine even exists. Why does this thing happen? Will it ever stop, or will I take the courage and the willpower and the strength to stop it? If you can do that, you can't stop it. You have to replace it, okay? You must replace it with something new. Just like people who smoke cigarettes, you can't stop smoking cigarettes. And this is perspective and thinking. You must replace it with something new. You can't get rid of eating. You must replace it with a different kind of eating, okay? You never have more time or less time. You just replace the sections of time with the things that you want. You truly want. Okay? So if you can say, it will stop, I will stop it. It will be done. I will replace it with this. And then take the willpower to go, and this is the next part I'm going to talk about, and change that paradigm. Now, if you don't know what a paradigm is quite a big, daunting concept if this is the first time you're hearing of it. But a paradigm is something either handed down to you from your past, from your parents, from their parents, and parents' parents. And it can be a way of talking to yourself in your subconscious mind, how you talk to yourself when the pressure's on. Does the heat come, where you can get it done, or are you the person who the heat comes for you in the form of just, I'll never be able to do it, and just sadness talks in, and that's what comes to you, and you ultimately give up? Or you fail, but you're back tomorrow to try again. So our paradigm controls everything. When I say our paradigm, that is where I'm mostly talking about the 24 hours of routine. You have routines through these 24 hours. Are you able, rather than selectively shifting one, that's a big step, but to change a routine, which is what I'm talking about, is where you're attacking one vertical, particular. At this time, I tend to eat food at night, and this is the window of susceptibility. That's a routine. But if we're going to talk paradigm, we're talking the entire daily habit routine. And that can be shifted through taking in enough type of content of reading. Reading is far better, and a book, not digital. Analog pieces of paper. I work in IT. I'm very familiar with digitalization and all this stuff, okay? So a physical book. What we feed our mind will be eventually what our mind refeeds us. And that's the key to changing paradigms. We become what we think about, okay? Whatever we spend our time doing is what we become. And you must start right now. If there's something you want to become, drop everything that can be dropped and spend all of your waking hours doing that thing. Okay? We become what we think about. Our thoughts are things. They permeate time and space. And our thoughts grow like seeds. Whether we want to control our thoughts, then we're just growing a disaster of a garden until everything breaks. But they will grow. So it's best to take control of it and choose something to plant, because something will be planted. So to change that whole paradigm is to change the thoughts, the input. Okay? So no doom scrolling. Anyways, I hope that helps break some single routines. If you're strong enough to break your whole paradigm, then that is the key. And you'll have to continuously do this throughout the different cycles and seasons of your life. As you consciously focus down on a paradigm, things get locked in, a few years pass, you loosen up, things get out of control, got to shift into a new one. Okay? Peace.